guys, welcome to this week's devotion. Last week we were talking about becoming a warrior in our devotions, and if you have a chance, kind of go back, and that way you can kind of catch up, because we're gonna kind of carry on with that idea of spiritual warfare. And this week we're gonna talk about equipping ourselves for battle. Equipping ourselves for battle is what we're gonna talk about. So if you can open your Bibles with me to 2 Corinthians chapter 10. Starting in verse 3, it says, For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but divinely powerful for the destruction of fortresses. We are destroying speculations of every lofty thing raised up against the knowledge of God, and we are taking every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. Now, in about 265 BC, there was an incredibly massive battle that took place and quite decisive in world history. It was called the Battle of Changping, and it consisted of two armies. One army was 450,000 soldiers. The other was 550,000 soldiers. So they fought, and when the battle finally was done, it resulted in the death of over 650,000 soldiers. 400,000 soldiers alone from just one side. Now you jump ahead many years to 1942, and we read about another massive battle called the Battle of Stalingrad. And in Stalingrad, the Battle of Stalingrad, it was between Russia and Germany. It's believed that 4 million soldiers took part in that battle. And as a result, it ended up with 1.8 million soldiers losing their lives. So this is what I want to show you. In the entire history of war in the human race, if you add up the casualties of just two large battles, you end up with 2.5 million lost lives in just two battles. Now, as we discussed last week, the Bible tells us that we are in a spiritual war, right? And it's every bit as serious as a physical war. We spoke last week about becoming warriors, right? Every war needs warriors. And so last week we talked about becoming warriors of the faith. And so this week what I want to do is I want to equip you for warfare. I want to talk to you about the weapons that are needed for warfare. Now the reality is this: Jesus did tremendous damage to the kingdom of Satan. In fact, he gained victory over death and the grave. He gained victory over Satan. So we know that the war that we are a part of spiritually has already been won. What we are determining from this point to the end of human existence in Christ's return is this: how many casualties are going to be a part of this war. So I hope you can join me this week. I hope you can join me, because what we learned from Jesus during that in this war is this: Jesus won that battle and never raised one sword. He won that battle and did no violence to anybody. So we believe, and what we learn from scriptures is this: there is a difference on how we fight a spiritual war and how we fight a physical war. And so this week, I want to equip you with the weapons to fight this spiritual war. So I hope you can join me this week. It's going to be a time of great learning. There's going to be some pretty deep teachings at times, and it's going to be encouraging because we are going to learn how we win this spiritual war and the spiritual battles in your life. So until we meet again, may God bless you.